Afternoon, everyone. Ben here, and today we're going to be updating our Senate and gubernatorial election forecasts. Or I am going to be doing that to mine. Anyway, this is the penultimate prediction. I thought this was the last one. Apparently, I was wrong. For some reason, I thought tomorrow was election day. It's not even November yet. I'm running myself a little bit ragged here in terms of how much energy I have, so I'm gonna. Anyway, I think I'm okay though. I'll be okay. So we'll talk about the Senate elections, and I went through and did my due diligence, and these are races I kind of want to talk about. Haven't seen anything that would change my thoughts on these two elections. Nevada, even though Heller's been performing well in polls, I'm still leery about the early vote and how that worked in 2016. And add in Democratic momentum this year. I just don't see that as a good. I don't see this as a good bet. If you're taking a bunch of safe bets elsewhere, maybe this could be your one chance to do this. I mean, I'm still tilting it because polls are saying that this isn't Jackie Rosen's race, but it's close enough where a small shift in her favor is correct. Means that she wins, which it happens. That's how Trump became president. There was a small systematic shift in a lot of state level polls, especially in the upper Midwest. So it could happen. I haven't seen anything that would change McSally versus Kirsten Sinema, so I'm not really going to change that. Actually, I wanted to say I'm almost to the point where I'm going to call Tennessee safe for Marsha Blackburn, but I'll talk about that next week. Okay. Texas, I have seen. I do want to talk a little bit about this. Some polls will release two versions of their poll, although they'll release one that shows their likely voter model versus their all adults model. In Texas, you can see the stark contrast. O'Rourke wins by about 4 if you look at just all adults, and if you look at likely voters, Cruz is up by 5 or 6, depending on which poll you look at. So I'm going to say that Texas is still likely Cruz. I'm a little more confident about this prediction than I was when the race got extremely close a while back there. I'm pretty confident about this one here. Tennessee, haven't really seen anything that changes what I've said about it, so that's why I'm not talking about it. I may upgrade this to safe. Heidi Heitkamp's pretty much lost her race in North Dakota. I am moving this into the safe Kevin Cramer column. I just don't see how Heitkamp wins this race right now. Of course, there could be a small shift, but that would just make it competitive rather than Cramer's running away with it. While Heitkamp has a strong personal brand, I think that she was in danger of losing this race to begin with, and her vote against Kavanaugh kind of ruined her chances at winning. And that's not to say she didn't have a legitimate reason to not vote, vote for confirmation. She did. I can't criticize her for voting no because she had a legitimate reason. And I think she made the right decision for her. I don't think John Tester is going to lose this. I've seen some polls showing it competitive, but in general, he's winning it pretty handily. His personal brand is much stronger than Heitkamp's, and Montana's just a weird state in general, so I really don't see Tester losing this. Let's go to Indiana, where I don't know what's going on with polling there. There will be a week of polls showing Braun is up, then a week of polls showing Donnelly's up, and I definitely rate this as a true toss-up. I think there's a chance that Donnelly loses, a very good one, but it's also extremely likely that Mike Braun loses. I actually consider this one dead 50-50. I don't know who's going to win this, and I don't even want to make a prediction. But, as always on this channel, I will always favor the incumbent in close races, and that means it's going to Joe Donnelly. Let's talk about New Jersey, where I've seen polls tighten up recently again, but it's still Menendez's state to lose. It would take, so I'm only downgrading it, meaning I'm less confident, but I still think he's going to win, obviously. Um, and now let's go to Missouri, where, again, I haven't seen a poll since early September showing McCaskill ahead. It was either at the start of this month or the start of September. Whichever one is true, basically. That means Hawley has had a very strong month of polling, and it seems he's only getting better in terms of that. And it seems the state has completely forgotten about the scandal with the governorship. And that was kind of McCaskill's only real attack against him. Because she can't say, well, he's too conservative for our state. No, no, he's not. First of all, McCaskill, do you know Missouri if you use that attack? And he's able to hit her saying, well, we elected her thinking she'd be a moderate Democrat, and instead she's voted lockstep with the party leadership. Yeah. And that seems to be a very strong motivator, but of course there is an incumbent bias. But considering the strong month or months of polling Hawley has had, as well as the fact that the momentum is in his favor, I am going to go ahead and tilt this towards Hawley, meaning Democrats pick up 2 states, but Republicans also pick up 2. States to watch are Nevada, Arizona, Florida, Missouri, Indiana. I watched the races in the Rust Belt and Upper Midwest a little bit, but not by a ton, simply because the incumbents there are pretty popular, and states seem to like being kind of in the middle. So I don't think they're going to reject any of the Democrats that are incumbents there. Plus, the states are very swingy anyway, so. New Jersey, a little bit, but that's only to see how close the race is, rather than see if Bob Hugin wins. I'd look at Montana, Texas, and Tennessee as states where it might be, there might have been something everybody missed, but I highly doubt it. That's why I'm more confident about those. So, anyway, let's move on to the gubernatorial map, where we're talking about pretty much everything from every place in the nation. Let's talk about Oregon, where Kate Brown is performing weakly, but I don't really see this as a race that Newt Bueller is going to win. Bueller. I really just don't. Oh yeah, and in the Senate map, I had West Virginia as safe blue. Also, I thought I had this race as safe for. Oh boy. Yeah, okay, that all looks correct. There we go. Add that in, and I had that as safe, and thought I was going to talk about that, and that needs to be likely. Yeah, sometimes 530, not 538, sometimes 270 kind of loses track of what you do with it. Anyway, so Nevada, I've seen Laxalt ahead, I've seen Sisolak ahead. I don't like treating this as a horse race, and I've been leaning it towards Laxalt, but I think I'm going to put it in the same direction as the Senate race. I still think the race is extremely competitive, and either Sisolak or Laxalt can win it. But early voting is probably going to be the reason Sisolak wins it. In Arizona, however, you're going to see a lot of split ticketing, and Doug Ducey is probably going to win this one going away. I really just do not think it's going to be remotely close. South Dakota, I've seen some very competitive polling, but incumbency slash super red state, I'm going to keep this as a leans towards the Republican. I've had it as safe just because it was only one partisan poll showing the Democrat even remotely close. Now I've seen one or two nonpartisan polls showing something similar, so we're going to put it there. Okay? I think Scott Walker is going to lose, as far as I can tell from polls, but it's going to be remotely competitive, so nothing too surprising. I'm tilting Ohio to Mark DeWine. I just don't really see that as a... I mean, I can see how Democrats win it. I really can. But I do see some split ticketing, and most polls have shown DeWine ahead. Iowa, I think I'm confident enough to move this into a leans for the Democrats. Just kind of makes sense based off of what I've seen from the polls. Who that? Iowa. Yeah, Kim Reynolds is probably going to lose that. I forgot her name for a second. That's what happens when there's so many races to cover. You sometimes forget a person's name or two. I'm still tilting this race towards Kobach, even though I've actually seen legitimate polls showing Kelly ahead. So this is definitely a race to watch. Kansas governor. Oklahoma, I'm confident enough to turn this into a likely Republican, even though polls show a competitive race. It's Oklahoma, and Stitt is probably going to win it. Andrew Gillum is probably going to win in Florida. I don't feel confident enough turning it into a likely, but leaning it is the smart move here. And Georgia. Everybody criticizing me saying, oh, Democrats can win Georgia. Democrats can win Georgia. I'm like, yes, they can. But it's a monumentally difficult task. Even now, even with the changing demographics, even with the state trending towards the Democrats in a year that favors the Democrats, Georgia is a monumentally difficult lift for Democrats because there are very few swing voters, and conservative voters outnumber the ones who are predisposed to vote for Democrats. It's an inelastic state. It's still a swing state, don't get me wrong, but it's a swing state because it's more important to turn out the base rather than appeal to swing voters, which is more important in a place like Ohio. Let's go to the last state, which is Maine, and I have literally seen nothing, so I'm still only tilting this to the Democrats. If I don't see any polls, I can't really make a prediction. I'm kind of shooting in the dark with Maine. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you had a nice day. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Bye.